Hello, everybody. Welcome to Concordia, Consularis, the spiritual and business agency of peace. Good day, good fine day to you all in this moment of joy and shared expansion with the increasing levels of sun and consciousness expansion that is available to everybody today, and all they have to do is ask, because you're the universe. So today, on Concordia, we're going to be looking at an interesting subject matter. And it's all about the voice and the expression of the soul through the throat and the heart, and what disconnections people experience. Hi, Harrison.
Hi, Angela. How are you? It's good to be here. It's great. It's wonderful. I'm looking forward to this session and also to the topics that we have planned for today. And I hope our viewers enjoy and they give us a like and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, thanks for getting that in. Sometimes we do welcome your likes. We do welcome your comments. Please comment, get involved, say what you need to say, allow it to flow in whatever form. So one of the interesting things that has been shown in the mainstream narrative is the reinvigoration of a certain Bobby Kennedy, and he's been going on to many podcasts, all that kind of stuff. And people will have listened to him and heard this throat issue. So what I'm going to do here is just share a video of what he talks about his condition is. And then we're going to go into it from the infinite perspective of the family line. So we're just kind of going to give this a bit of an ancestral review. And I'm going to do that just now. Okay, share sound. That's great. Okay. That's wonderful. And from here, please do watch.
And when I would go on TV, people would write me letters and say, you have spasmodic dystonia, and you should see Dr. Blitzer, who is the physician who was most famous for treating it. And I ultimately went to see him, and he confirmed that I had the diagnosis. So it makes it, I think it makes it problematical for people to listen to me. I cannot listen to myself on TV. I will never listen to this broadcast, and I won't listen to any. So I feel sorry for you guys having to listen to me.
All right.
But I'll say one other thing, that my throat was much worse, and I went to Japan with Cheryl about 6 months ago and had a novel surgery that they only do in Kyoto. And it made my voice much better, which you probably won't believe, but it was much worse than this before. So.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of questions tonight for you from our audience. Let's get started. Before that, though, I want to say you're asking Democratic voters in this room and across the country to do something that hasn't been done in 167 years in this country, to vote out a president of their own party. Not to mention, replace him with somebody who hasn't even held elective office. Why should they take that chance?
Well, I'm running because I feel like my party has lost its way. That the values that my uncle represented, my father represented when they were Democrats, have been neglected, let's say. And I want to try to bring the Democratic Party back to those values, the values that were, in favor of focused on the middle class in this country, focused on labor, on racial, on the well-being of minorities in this country, focused on the environment, particularly on civil liberties and freedom of speech, which the party seems to have forgotten about. And the party traditionally was anti-war as well. My uncle, President Kennedy, was asked by his best friend what he wanted on his epitaph, on his gravestone, and he said he kept the peace. He said the principal job of an American president is to keep the country out of war. And the Democratic Party has represented those views since its inception. And I think, particularly what we're doing now in Ukraine is a departure from that. And I don't mean that, I'm very, very sympathetic to the Ukrainian people, and I am not sympathetic to Putin, who invaded the Ukraine brutally and illegally and unnecessarily. But we have neglected many, many opportunities to settle this war peacefully. And by the way, my son, Connor, went over to the Ukraine and fought.
And I'm wondering if that is
21 or 2022, his defense secretary, Lloyd Austin, said that the reason for America's presence in the Ukraine is to degrade the Russian military and exhaust its capacity to operate anywhere in the world. That is the opposite of a humanitarian mission. That is a mission about a war of attrition in which the people who are dying are Ukrainians.
But
And
when you say you would negotiate a solution, what does that look like? Do you award President Putin of Russia part of Ukraine?
We know what the solution would look like because
I switched
the
it.
Russians agreed to the solution twice. Once they agreed to the Minsk Accords, they
Find it.
the Minsk Accords, which were agreed to by Germany.
Okay, it's still playing in the background.
Politics. Like, where's it gone?
Donbass was part of the Ukraine. By the way, Ukraine, Donbass voted to leave the Ukraine.
The elections last year?
And
The
where
early
is that
elections.
got us?
Let's
See what's left behind.
Let me finish this. The Minsk Accords, which all those
How
countries
can that
agreed on
be?
in 2019.
Oh, that can be right. Sorry, Bobby Kennedy. Just, we're not really interested in the political elements here. Only that the gold mine that he did touch upon, it is a war of attrition. And that karmically involves and entangles many people on the planet today. Whether you believe in it or not, it's still, the intent is the same. But that is not why we are here today. What we are doing, and as soon as I heard him speak, I began to notice the giant device that is affecting his throat and his output as an individual soul. And then it's not a coincidence that two of his family members that were very important figures in the system were literally taken out and assassinated. Now, what fascinates me is the message of the word that is brought through. And what you're seeing in Mr. Kennedy is that it's a distortion of his own soul's spirit truth. He doesn't like to hear it, his own voice, and many of us feel like that. But it is the power of the word in totality that brings the creative results that each individual will experience in their life. What you think about, what you create, what you say, where it comes from is really key here. So this is a bit of an unusual spiritual port of equity, because some of you may not know is that I used to have a difficulty speaking, and I was incredibly shy and I wouldn't speak. And that might seem a bit bizarre, but it isn't. She says as the alarm flashes up, your connection is unstable, you speak. Anyway, it is very funny to me. So it's been a life's work for me having to speak. And it wasn't until I entered the realms of 40 years old, I entered a radio station, and that really began to help me to vocalize my experience of helping others and how we overcome these certain blockages. So it used to be the case that every time I opened my mouth, I would start to feel like I was being strangled and cough like that. All the time, it was my voice trying to express and come forward. And there were many instances like that, where there will be projections of organisms that stop the throat. This is why part of my warrior of peace role is that I will continue to speak and I will not be silenced, and I'll always do it very well in peace and with tremendous connectivity from my heart. So it's not something that landed upon me to just come forward and start speaking about such matters. So, and I know personally, this has affected many people on their journeys and affected what they create in reality. So while we're listening, we've listened to Mr. Kennedy speak there, we pick up on these distorted rhythms, which stops people from listening to the message. Fascinating, isn't it, Harrison?
Yeah, it's fascinating because the moment you said in the past you had these instances where when you try to speak, you feel like somebody's trying to strangle you, or you're coughing a lot or something. It's the same thing a while back, or maybe I don't know, maybe a year or some months ago, I was going through the same experience where when you try to express yourself, there's a lot of coughing. You can't project your voice across, or you can't say the point, or you cannot articulate correctly the point that you want to say. And it also goes to the point where you feel that you are not even thinking, or your mouth is running faster than your thoughts. So it's like your words are jumbled, or they are mixed up, and you can't say correctly what you want to do. And until, it takes a lot of time, training, because everything can be learned. And one thing I have learned is repetition is the mother of all skills. Proper repetition, or where you identify the problem where you have, and then you work to correct and to improve on some of these things that you believe that you can achieve and succeed in. Yeah.
It is. It's a whole fascinating story, and anybody with incredible purpose and has a really powerful, reaching message will have experienced this in some form. So what I began to do is just learn a different rhythm. And this is the rhythm of the heart and the beat. Some may use drums as a heartbeat in certain areas. Some will find it easy to just get up there and relay information. So when we relay the powerful words of the soul, we use the heartbeat to stabilize the rhythm. And you might notice it in my voice. I'm doing that. I'm making a certain rhythm in line with my heartbeat. Faster my heartbeat goes, I will talk incredibly fast, but for the benefit of those that maybe speak a bit of English, and English isn't their first language, I'm just going to drop my pace down so that the words can materialize with the spiritual projection that comes forth in those words. So I thought, this guy, he is a good guy. I believe inherently that the lineage came under a good ethos, a good light power through them, which indicates, well, obviously they didn't want his uncle to speak, they didn't want his father to speak, and now for sure, system doesn't want him to speak and to sound distorted, and to sound like you can't understand him or consolidate the information through your own auditory system. So, Mr. Kennedy, we're going to invite you into the spiritual court of equity. I've already checked with his soul about this, by the way. There was an awful lot stopping him. Not that I have any political viewpoint other than seeing the distortion and the feeling of compassion towards the man. for that, because he is being stopped. And it was something he was born into. He's a light bearer, a torch bearer for his lineage to resolve the issues, like all families on earth today. So he's in, and I'm just going to invite notes. Oh God, it's so funny, but so boring as well at the same time. We're going to invite all others in who have had problems with speech, expression, and speaking the words of the soul. Many light workers, many of those throughout time, you are welcome into this spiritual court of equity with Mother Earth and all star elders and lineages present. Because we use the power of the word to create our own realities. So,
Yeah.
Right, so into this spiritual court of equity, I would like to invite all those that have prevented said Kennedys from speaking. Oh, interesting.
It's a huge list.
It's like, whoa.
It's a huge list of people, and one thing that I'm picking up is that given that he is coming from a very, very powerful lineage, that in some past years they have been able to go politically, they have been able to achieve the highest political office, and there was a desire to bring freedom to people at that point in time, and that was stopped. And because of that, it's like their lineage was marked, and now you have people from that lineage who try to achieve the same thing. They are targeted before even they are able to achieve that level or the desire they want. And I'm also picking up the reason why he was targeted is it's because previously there were these predictive programming kind of things that the system has, that is it's able to predict who the person is gonna be, how he is gonna become, how he is gonna achieve some of these things. And using that data, they are able to put things in different times of a person's journey or life to be able to negate that person, not to achieve his mission or purpose. And if they stick on that path, they put hurdles and, some of the things that aren't helpful for the soul to just drill that process. And I think this is where now the voice comes in, because there's a consensus among each and every single person. Like, for example, if you're heading such kind of an office, you have to be a good communicator. You have to be able to project your points clearly out to the people, and you have to show confidence. And if you are in a situation where your voice is taken out, it means that dream is totally crushed. And what we are seeing here, it's magnificence of another kind of a level. Despite these challenges, he has placed, or he has put himself in a position where he will go for what he wants to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And now, since he has been able to make that decision, now the question is, will he go through, or are they gonna put political kind of things? Because we do know there are so many political things that's happening within that party he has mentioned. So whether he's gonna be on the ballot or not, that's another thing. But the fact that he has made that choice and has come publicly to the people, it's the first step of overcoming the challenge that he's experiencing. Yeah.
Thank you. And, I this is why we're doing this today. Because
Yeah.
I want to be able to see the improvements here, and we will see them, I am sure. So there are two things that have materialized from the words that you said while you were saying them, because words create pictures, and you using the power of your word automatically transmits a whole spiritual and psychic different picture. This is why we must be incredibly mindful about the type of words we use and in the context, the emotional context that we use. So, Harrison, you talked about those dreams crashing of the individual. What kind of impact would that have to the soul and to that person's experience?
So once the soul has decided to come into this reality or realm that we are in, it has a set of goals and desires that it has set to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And each and every single soul on this planet is coming with a plan.
Exactly.
And some of the plans of other souls is to stop others from achieving what they want to achieve. And if you could say, though the system doesn't have a soul, but as long as we are interacting with this system, it's like we are giving it life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's having its own artificial soul that it has. And its main agenda is to make sure it survives. And since the person who we are speaking of right now, RFK, is one who can dismantle that system or can cause much harm to that system, that is why the system would want to crash that dream at its infant stage. Because right now, as we have heard from that reporter, he has never held any office. He has never done anything politically that the mainstream media can go and say this person did this and this and this, other than what he does from his own free will of defending the children through we cannot say those words because YouTube is scanning for them, but the moment I do this everybody will be able to understand some of these things that I'm talking of, sorry. So he has done a tremendous job there, bringing information to the people, bringing the light to the people, and giving the people another chance of thinking of something different other than what the mainstream is projecting out there.
Exactly.
And given his political stability, and if they can be able to kill this dream right now at its infant stage, because right now it has not grown wings, it will be much better than waiting for him to go and have an office and then they go do whatever they did to some of his forefathers. Yeah. So right now, this is why you'd find some people might feel that he's been targeted because he's a really, really powerful soul.
He is.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask Phil, would he like us to remove that device blockage that is projected into his soul matrix through his family line?
What I'm picking is he wants this. I would say it's like a hand, but more of a left hand that is projecting power, that has put its boots on the throats of many people, especially his family, because for him to come and speak, there's a huge backlash within his family, because I'm getting this feeling that some of them believe he's gonna follow the same route as his father, as his uncle.
It's true.
And there is a huge resistance within the family because of the stand and the position he has taken. there's also belief that if for him, he may not be targeted, but his offspring
Mhm.
might, so that he can be silenced.
Mhm.
So
We can handle that.
yeah, so this is what he is feeling, and this is what he is
I get it.
would want us to look into to be able to remove this yoke. That's what I would say.
With
Yeah.
absolute pleasure. That will be a divine assistance of pleasure. Concordia Consularis, we are the premier agency of peace on earth. Anyway, his wife is delightful. I heard her speak on an interview yesterday. What a heart-driven soul. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't care what their political affiliations are. It doesn't matter to me. You know, it's these beings that bring through great words that's really important for everybody to hear. And I'm just assuring him of that. I'm assuring the lineage of that. And I'm just dealing here and inviting their elders of their ancestors to come forward with us in this moment. So we're just going to perform a little assessment on the type of technology that was used to prevent this expression from his soul, because it's neurologically wired in to his brain. And I feel that it was triggered at the point where he was present when his father was assassinated. So I'm just bringing that technology to the fore so we can assess it.
What I'm getting is, other than the technology, there are words that have been said within the family. Once the president, JFK, was assassinated, there was this fear, I would say, that was projected towards the family. That, yeah. Yeah, and the base of this fear was words. You shall only speak of what you're allowed to speak. So this is what is being carried forward, projected towards this lineage, life, left, and center. But what we are seeing is somebody like RFK is able to pierce this veil of fear and come out and speak words that the system would consider not allowed in their own terms. And this has created a huge backlash because it's giving this sense of freedom in that lineage, even if some of them are still in fear, but it's giving them a choice that it doesn't matter what you have been told. It's the highest time, if you have the chance and the opportunity arises for you to speak, take it, do what is supposed to be done. And if there's any choice or consequence that is gonna be paid, be ready to pay it without any fear or favor or anything. And this is what I'm reading from the soul, as this voice blockage is being looked into by all his ancestors and the star elders that are already here in the court. And the funny thing is that the soul was already aware this is gonna happen, and it had put measures and precautions of this. So it's something that is courageous and something that is mind-boggling of him to be able to see him coming out and speaking and expressing himself. Yeah, and
your words.
yeah, and talking and everybody who I believe maybe in his own perception he thinks people are not able to listen to him, but I'm getting this sense his words are resonating with so many people. And it's resonating not from the physical level, but at the soul level, which is core and key. And this is what wins votes. And the system is aware of this. And this is why they have to do anything and everything in their power to make sure that he is stopped in that process of him becoming the president. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, whew, this is a particularly strong Irish lineage. Right. You gave such an excellent description with your words then. Really, 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 you did. Amazing. So I'm just going to look at the technology and see where we can pinpoint it to. And we're just going to invite those that inserted that level of disruptive activity to this particular ancestral line.
I don't know why I've just had this thought,
Mm-hmm.
and it's currently a physical being that is incarnated, or a family that is incarnated on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play physically on any political role, but they play the donor fund kind of role, or they control things behind the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the the thought that has just dropped is the Rockefeller family of that lineage. Yeah, and also I'm getting the Soros lineage and that, but it's not limited to those. Those are the ones that are coming to my thought process, but there are others that are playing behind. Those are just front faces, but there are others that are deeper playing behind those families. Yeah.
Exactly. So those families of money and banking and control, what's behind them?
So what I've heard is the 15 is basically super in charge of this, and whatever
They're lucky.
game they are playing right now. And in some way or sense, the 15 believe the Kennedy family it's like one of their own who went rogue, because you can't get into that position unless you have worshipped the same hand. And the Kennedy family has definitely worshipped the same hand, but at some point it decided to break away. So they believe it's one of them, but it went rogue. So that this is why it's like they are punishing whatever decision they choose to make.
Yes, you nailed it in one. Right. So there are many people on this planet that are alive today that have been, let's say, have their lives and generations affected as a result of this double-handed play.
Yeah.
Many have lived lives of extreme poverty. I'm only going to mention Cuba. And all the propaganda that sprang forth, deep state, etc., etc. So, would they like to do the removals and withdraw? It's their choice. And the elders of the families are coming in.
Yeah, but there's something that is quite unique here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a commotion between the elders where some believe this needs to be done.
Hey.
Others believe it's not. No, they don't need. They need to go back to their original way, which was supporting the system. So it's like there's a huge debate that's happening here. But once you go behind, these ancestors or these star elders who are in support of them to go back into the original way of supporting the system,
Yeah.
you
Now.
find, yeah, you find there are links between them and the system, and it's like the moment they decide to go through that path, it's like they're being rewarded in certain kind of ways.
Mhm.
And if the family doesn't do what is supposed to be done, it's like those rewards will be cut off.
Mhm.
So, and it's a very profitable business for them, because at the end of it, it's for the higher beings, it's all about the energy and the energy they are getting from the system. And it's just mind-boggling to see how a star family elder would betray the rest of the lineage just for power or the energy they are soaking from whatever they are doing.
Oh, honestly, you nailed it again. You nailed it again. I'm so happy about that. You really did. So let's just bring forward the cultural star elders, imposters in that line and lineages.
That's interesting. It's like what I'm being shown, it's a wall that was painted. The entire wall is painted white.
Mhm.
Somebody comes with a black or another color and splashes over the wall. And it's a color that you can wash off, but instead of washing off, you start to paint on top of what it is. But instead of getting the original color, you get a mixture of the splashed color plus the white color, and it's in between. It's not white, it's not the, the other color that was splashed over. And this is what the imposters have done, where they are trying to shield the true elders who are beneath them. And it's the same what I would say, the same thing RFK is experiencing in terms of projecting the voice. So the true elders, their voice is not being able to be projected to the current lineage that is incarnated on the planet, because the imposters are here acting as if they are the true elders, making side deals here and there, and whatever they believe is the best way for the lineage to go and do.
Harrison, you nailed it again. I'm going to keep saying this throughout the broadcast because you keep doing it, keep bringing it and speaking it as it is. Now, this is a common problem, or has been a common problem in time, where many cultures and ancestors have been affected by this level of imposition and apparent battling going on. And it really prevents the future generations from moving forward from that very pure place. So, cultural imposters of all incarnated realms here on Earth today. We'll just do a quick sweep while we're here. No point in focusing on one. We'll have them all in. Imposters and those who distort the truth of the ancestral line. And I know we've got a few, hey, it's over here, over in certain areas in China. They just
Yeah.
help, please.
Yes, I've gotten a huge chunk of them, but the guys who are at the forefront are the players at the realm that we see them. Especially there's one guy who I'm not gonna mention his name, but he's an Israeli, and he acts as the high priest of the WEF. Talking of the talking of the people are gonna merge with machines, and
so
yeah, so that's, I'm getting some of the imposters are coming through that lineage, and they play quite a heavy and huge role. And The others, or the core of it is where they try to block Mother Earth, project
Mhm.
her own self and her words to her children, whether it's through artificial intelligence or through manipulation of ancient cultures or words or manipulating words or changing things here and there. That's the system and the game they have been playing along. And projecting to the people as if they are the good guys, but behind the scene, they are the worst kind of characters you'd want to interact with.
Scammers, liars, robbers, and thieves.
Yeah. And another thing that is coming through, I'm being told, is that this blockage, it has to have a manifestation on the planet for it to be anchored. And moreover, for them is that for them to project this, they have to tell the people and people have to agree. And one of the greatest rituals that has just happened where people are muzzling their mouths, it was one way of where people were confirming their silence, though the agendas that are being implemented are hurting you, and you can feel their draconian rules, their draconian measures. But since you have that muzzle, you just obey like a good sheep and do whatever you're told.
You take the blue pill.
Yeah. So that's what I'm getting.
It's all right. We can deal with that. There is nothing that cannot be dealt with because we are infinite beings of light. And when we all come together in complete unity, separate of the system with Earth, it's a possibility. Everything is possible and negotiable. So, and it's not even me doing this, we're just facilitating the universal movement of and flow. Now, if your heart is not open, your system will be utilizing, your inner system will be utilizing the system as its mother. So I'd just like to, she's already started. Earth as a sentient soul. It's like, yep, she's quick. She's just going to begin this emanation that is going to meet the elders from the stars through the elements of Earth. And there's nothing anyone, any system can even get close to doing this. And it's all going to be anchored across the planet today on this amazing 7/7, lucky sevens day.
Yeah.
Now that's powerful. That's strong.
Yeah, that's powerful, that's strong. I'm also being reminded the tools that the system use, the tools of vision, or the television, most people would like to call it, and shows and other things they do. It's not like they have this power. The agenda is to project the illusion of having the power, and this is what they use the mainstream as, to project they have this power and to muzzle everybody, and they will use it to their highest end. So the information that is coming through is if people would just agree to connect within their heart and use the discernment that's coming from the heart space, and from there to be able to judge from that perception who is the right person for you to, if you choose to have elections and that to choose, and not to listen to the words because they have understood If you can have very good words, but your heart is rotten.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and most
oh,
people, they tend to listen.
rotten.
Yeah. So most people tend to have very nice words, and what is cooking within them is not of the highest goodness to the people. And so if people can be able to use their discernment, they'll see what RFK is trying to do, what he is trying to achieve, and they would support him by adding to this energy, and together they'll be able to make the next step. Whether it becomes the president, that's another thing, but it will be something they'll be able to achieve as a collective, as a humanity. And from his soul, that is even more better, or much more better than him becoming the president, because he would have been able to achieve, I'm lacking the words, but it's like a sole purpose of their lineage of
Mhm,
what they have been wanting to implement on the planet.
mhm. It's the overall message. It doesn't have an affiliation. It's one of being.
Yeah.
You know, you really, did amazing on that description. So this is the case, exactly as you said, is. So let's just have a little look at Mr. Kennedy's throat again, and the system that is wired into his spiritual functions, etc. And what do you observe is at his throat level?
I'm lacking words to say because it's not something I've ever seen, but I can see it has some, I would call them spikes, but they're not spikes, but on top of it, it has like a bubble,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know if like an antenna or some sort of it. And it's what is lining across his throat.
Okay. So what happens when to those bubbles when he speaks?
It's like they manipulate the voice to project it outwards, to have a certain agenda. But one thing that I'm getting is that his soul has been able to master how to use this technology. So even if they try to manipulate it and try to cause blockages among the people, the ears of people, it's like the soul is able to override that and put a certain kind of frequency that crashes that. So it will be like two signals will be sent, but one will be more powerful than the other one. So people will end up hearing, at the end of the day, they will end up hearing what he is saying, and they will even get the core of the message he is trying to put across. And some of them even go on a further step of doing their own research, and they learn even more than what he would say or he would present in any show or whatever occasion he is at.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful what you're saying. So I'm asking his people, his family, his star elders, the true ones, and his soul, if he would like that removed so he could be more effective in his communication role. And the answer is yes. There's a little bit of uncertainty as if it can be done, but I'm just going to start a process using some incredibly highly advanced techniques that not many people will see. And if you could observe and relay the information of what you see is happening to the lineage and the voice and the throat connections between the upper and lower worlds. It's interesting how it affects his auxiliary verbs. Oh, that's interesting. Verbs, the doing action words, kicks in at that point. Fascinating stuff. Now, you, as many others who listen to this, might feel a benefit from even just tuning into this removal. Because what it feels like is like the grip out of here and the release, just even keying into the specific program of manipulation of auxiliary verbs, lifts.
I'm feeling this sense of flow of ease, and it's like something heavy has been lifted off him, and he is quite grateful and thankful for what we have done for him, and he can't even wait to go and outside there and project what we have done and see how this is gonna work and how his soul is gonna implement this. And once he tries speaking, how he's gonna project his voice outside, it doesn't mean his voice is gonna stop from shaking, but it means the soul will have an easier time projecting its frequency. And once his words are being projected outward, people will understand at soul level what he's speaking of.
They will. Now I'm just going to focus in because I'm a bit of a, person that likes to check certain angles. And there are certain, with these processes, we want to just check as well. The electronic component that was used to transmit from his brain the information that he receives from his soul, his people, that the wiring is all out. And here we're going into the areas of psychic surgery and other circuitry that is irrelevant to or controls the speech, its flow, frontal cortex, in the left hemisphere in particular. The joy in his lineage is increasing.
Yeah.
Just checking his father and his uncle. How does uncle and father respond?
I'm getting they are quite okay, but they are making me aware of the 3-letter agency. They have a department in there that they believe is trained. Okay, from their own perception, they think they can do what we are doing and counteract it and continue with the agenda, or they can write reports of what we are doing and another kind of department will take over and influence whatever frequencies they want to project outside. And this is what is being made aware into my attention. And all the star elders are looking into it, and I'm seeing it being neutralized. These people will think they are reporting the correct information, but it's like this information, what we are doing is here, but another bubble has been created to mirror this. But they think they are seeing us, but they are picking whatever gibberish kind of information is being put there by the style does, and that's what they are reporting back. And this is what the agency is gonna use to whatever agenda they want to explore or implement.
Excellent. I love it when you said gibberish. It's so funny. Oh, and if we didn't laugh
Yeah.
at this absolute complete theatrical display, then, you know, we'd all just be burying our heads in the sands and not looking at the actual reality. So the cultures that had their, and the beings, I'm interested in those as well. You've had their voices squashed. They might experience some sort of thyroid issue, for example. Those who just can't speak through their own programming. I wanted to make sure all these lovely people with a brilliant spiritual voice come forward and are able to speak their words in truth. And in this moment, I'm so happy that my own journey with voice and my achievements through it to where I am now, and it hasn't been easy, I tell you. They benefit from that in some way.
Okay, let me try switching my internet here because I'm seeing I'm getting information. My internet is unstable.
As soon as we mention the banking system, we're all unstable. And that's fine. It's still rolling out. We're still just ensuring the great peace to flow through those lineages. That healing occurs for every soul that had difficulty expressing the power of their own word into this reality. And there's a lot of just anger and self-punishment. Harrison will be back in a sec. And the tremendous, one of the biggest impacts of not being able to express the light of your soul in any given circumstance is that the individual, the human body on earth, the projection of the soul, will internalize all those emotions, creating low self-esteem, low self-worth, and feel that their voice, no matter how quiet, is not heard or ripples out through any reality. But it does, and it will.
Yeah, sorry for that. I'm back again.
That's
It's
all
like
right.
some internet challenges here, but I think it's okay.
So says the mountain.
Yeah.
How does the whole scene feel to you now? I'm just making sure there's a certain dark element that needs to be addressed properly. Ensuring that is taking place. You know, and it's quite biblical in the sense of many texts, Bible in essence. You know, in the beginning there was the word of all creation. So in this moment, we create for everybody on this earth using our words, our intents, our emotions as the battery pack of your own spiritual experience, your own explanation of things, your own consolidation of data on a very personal level. This is your authentic being. And so when your relay is in complete flow and in proper functionality and operation, you will have more of a powerful effect in your reality. And there are, you know, things, boundaries, declarations of your authenticity that count in this reality. They count from the earth right the way to your origin. And this is why many people can translate light, they can translate foreign words, non-earth languages, yet they require the inner confidence of being to bring that through. So how are the cultural imposters looking throughout all lineages, star lineages on Earth today?
What I'm seeing is that it's like they have been magnified, and a report has been sent to so many levels of ancestors, and their fakery has been seen, and their manipulation kind of agendas that they do. And it's like, it's where you have something that feels it's a blockage, and then something comes in and it just pushes the blockage out, and it's placed aside of the entire lineage. So it's like they're in their own cocoon or their own level of operation. They still think they are interlinked with the true ancestors, but their fakery has already been seen and actions is being taken to be contained. And it's something that's gonna take a while as it's looked into, because it has manipulated things. It has made deals on behalf of the rest of the lineage that are not supposed to be made. It has allowed some souls that were not supposed to incarnate in that lineage to come through.
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
Terminated others.
Yeah. It has exposed others, and it has sold out others, especially the lineage that was there, or the assassination that we have seen in that lineage. It's because some of the elders sold out, you know, the physically incarnated beings here.
Exactly, but they were imposters. So
yeah,
this last month, there's been a massive movement in the consciousness of the universe to extract and remove these imposter beings that create problems time and time again for the cultures on Earth. And I did not expect it to go in this way that we've gone today. This process literally started 2 weeks ago on a vast level, because they do interfere with people's journeys, they interfere with the individual, but their output and expression, which is basically like a contagious disease for all souls on Earth today. So I just can't even tell you how happy I am about that. But also that good news travels fast in the stars. It does. Expect that. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute joyful share. Now, I just want to check again on RFK's throat and its functionality. What percentage of functionality does his throat and neural networks in the heart have as a unified part of his technology?
I'm getting that whatever you could have possibly done in the session, you have already done for him.
Great. So we are.
And yes, Other parts, it's up to him to choose how he is gonna use the technology that he has, because it still comes to the individual person and how he chooses to utilize that technology. And for the court, things look to be settled. Everything is calm. A majority of the ancestors are very happy. Only the imposters, that's where the commotions are, because it's like we can see them, they can see us what we are doing, because it's like they're in their own bubble where restoration is continuing and will continue to take place. And if there's karmic implications in that, it's up to them to know how they're gonna set their own debts, not to pass it to future generations. So this is what has been made sure in the court that has happened. There's no karma skiving here. There's no saying, I don't know, in 100 years, generation this is gonna be paid. That has been put to an end in this court. So everything I'm seeing, they are just being signed off, sealed, archived into the earth, Akashic records. Things are fantastic. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm all on board with that. That's really great news. Obviously, we will keep monitoring in the background and working with the elders of all cultures to achieve the positive light benefits from the stars to the individual on Earth today. If you would like a session, an online training, or a retreat, please do get in contact at Concordia Consularis. Leave a comment, connect with us. We're all right. And leave a like. All helps. And we are censored here on this platform. And there will be other platforms, but actually it's a really boring and tiresome game. But the thing is, the work still happens anyway, as we've just witnessed. So wishing you all a tremendous summer ahead of you, and really work with your voice from the softness of your heart, your guidance system in this reality. Close your eyes and think with your heart, feel and speak the beauty that is your soul. So thanks everybody for joining us today. It was really excellent. Thanks, Harrison. You're on fire.
Yeah, thank you for this session. This was a wonderful session. I loved it, and looking forward to connect with you guys in the coming week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye-bye.